Alright, YouTube, there is a problem in America, and I think if we look at it closer, we will understand the problem. We've overlooked it for some time. But if we look at it from an open mind, with open ears, I think that we will come to an agreement here that the way we go about prosecuting criminals is completely backwards. I believe almost all of the blame goes to the Reid technique of interrogation, rather. It is not a question and answer format. What it is the monologue of the investigator making accusations that beyond a reason of a doubt that the person that's the suspect is, without a question, guilty. And they do this to try to make people confess to crimes, many of which have not committed the crime. I want you to listen to me read the 9 points of the Reid interrogation technique. It's a 9-step process. If you want to look it up, it's REID technique of interrogation. I'm going to pull it up, read it to you, and tell me whether or not this doesn't sound kind of slanted to you. Just let me pull it up here. I got a tab here. Alright. 9 steps of interrogation. The Reid technique's 9 steps of interrogation are: number 1, direct confrontation. Advise the suspect that the evidence has led the police to the individual as a suspect. Offer the person an early opportunity to explain why the offense took place. Number 2, try to shift the blame away from the suspect to some other person or set of circumstances that prompted the suspect to commit the crime. That is, develop themes containing reasons that will psychologically justify or excuse the crime. Themes may be developed or changed to find one to which the accused is most responsive. Number 3, try to discourage the suspect from denying his or her guilt. Keep that in mind. Number 4, at this point, the accused will often give a reason why he or she did not or could not commit the crime. Try to use this to move towards the confession. Keep that one in mind too. Number 5, reinforce sincerity to ensure that the suspect is receptive. Number 6, the suspect will become quieter and listen. Move the theme discussion towards offering alternatives. If the suspect cries at this point, infer guilt. Number 7, pose the alternative question, giving 2 choices for what happened. One may be more socially acceptable than the other. The suspect is expected to choose the easier option, but whichever alternative the suspect chooses, guilt is admitted. There is always a third option, which is to maintain that they did not commit the crime. 8. Lead the suspect to repeat the admission of guilt in front of witnesses and develop corroborating information to establish the validity of the confession. Document, and number 9, document the suspect's... Hold on, if I said number 9 for number 8, the previous one I just read, that's number 8. I don't know if I did that or not. But this one's number 9, the final step. Document the suspect's admission or confession that have him or her prepare a recorded statement, whether it be audio, video, or written. Does this not seem like it's slanting towards the idea of a person's guilt? Trying to convince someone that they did not have anything to do with the crime. Oh, I said that wrong. That they had something to do with the crime that they claimed they did not. Rather than asking someone questions, they look at it from a perspective that everyone's guilty no matter what. This is a problem within the court system in America right now. You know, it's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. But it seems anymore that there is a slight slant towards the prosecution, to favor the prosecution somewhat more than the defendant. Even people now seem to think, oh, that's where people they get read their sentencing for court. It's not that. It's a place where people are presented information, presented evidence, presented the first-hand testimonies of witnesses, and the jury's up to decide whether or not the person's guilty or not. This has been banned for using with children in a variety of countries in Europe. Because of false incidents of confessions and wrongful convictions that result. It's banned completely in Canada, I believe, because it goes on the assumption that everybody is guilty, no matter what. The whole concept of the court now is prove he's guilty. Don't prove that the person's innocent, just prove he's guilty. They don't see it as this is the final judgment to decide if someone's not guilty or guilty. People look at it now as a system to try to prove people are guilty. How does this make any sense? What? It was number 6. If the suspect cries at this point, infer guilt. Do you not, oh, he's crying, he must be guilty. Do you not think maybe people cry because they're being wrongfully thrown in prison? There's a not wrongfully, but there's a misunderstanding, maybe a wrong place, wrong time scenario. They're afraid that they're going to be wrongfully placed in jail. They've been sitting in there for hours, a day, days. Do people not realize that might be the case instead of, this isn't showing guilt, people. This may be showing fear. The Reid technique of interrogation has to be removed from the United States of America. It is completely changing the outlook of a court case. It is completely changing the whole system of the judicial branch. Because it is creating a culture that believes that the court is supposed to prove that people are guilty, rather than people, how it's intended to be to prove a person's innocence or guilt, based on evidence, based on fact, testimonies. Not proving someone's guilty. This is a terrible system. There have been many people that have been falsely accused of murder and falsely put away of murder and rape and child molestation because of this system of interrogation. A better system would be the peace model. It's an acronym, I believe, but it allows a question and answer format, not the accusation and a monologue. They don't let the person being interrogated tell their story. They make up stories for them. They make up false motives. And no one sees a problem with this. It's just the status quo. Well, I'm tired of seeing people falsely put in prison. Yes, of course, I'm not denying that people are guilty. But this is trying to show that all people are guilty. This is going in with the assumption that the person is guilty. It makes no sense. Ban Reid's interrogation model, technique of interrogation, ban it in the United States. Have it ruled as unconstitutional. Because it is creating a culture, and I know I'm sounding redundant, but I can't state it enough, of people that are trying to believe, or that are now made to believe. We live in a system where if you're convicted falsely of a crime, you are shunned for speaking out that you are innocent. That you are innocent. You are punished, most likely, for trying to prove your innocence. Instead, now it's devolved down to here. You can either accept being guilty now, or we can make a plea deal, but you still have to accept that you're guilty. What if he's not guilty at all? And it's bullshit, because even then, if someone denies the plea bargain, they're going to get the full sentence. We need to get rid of the system. We need to allow for interrogation methods that would actually, let someone actually tell their story. Not, accuse them of being guilty from the bat. Because now they're freaking out and they're crying, and now you think that's guilt. You think they're guilty. That's not guilt. That's someone scared for their goddamn life. Because they're afraid of being thrown in jail for the rest of their life, or being thrown on death row for a murder they didn't commit, for going to life in prison, for a rape they didn't commit. What if they get out and they have this on their record now? They can't do shit. Just think about that. Peace out, YouTube. Subscribe.